What's up, football fans? What's going on? Bill Corpus, Crispy Murphy here for the Sports Insanity Network, and welcome to another exciting edition of Thursday Night Gridiron for Week 13 of the NFL season. And tonight's showdown between the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks. And I am joined tonight by, you know him, you love him, you can't live without him, even though we tried, our fearless leader, the president of the Sports Insanity Network, Lawrence Patchman Lang. Patchman, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You made a call to the bullpen. You decided, as we say, make a call to the lefty. And the lefty is here tonight to, save you from bringing your brother on. So, you owe me one.
How many beers do I owe you?
We'll figure that out down the road.
Okay.
But I'm here on a live show. I think, minus, a live reaction to this past Saturday's premium live event with WWE. It's been a while since I've done a live show. So we're going to see how things go.
Got you out of the tomb, didn't I?
Oh, yes. I was going to enjoy my evening, eating dinner, flipping between the Knicks game and tonight's football game. And you know what? Before I do that, you were like, you know what? I'll do a live show. Why not? So here to talk a little football.
Okay. But before we get to the game, some big news happened this week.
No, there's always news going on.
But this one, I think, is worth talking about a little bit. The Carolina Panthers fired their head coach, Frank Reich.
Yeah,
after just 11 games.
He joins a small elite group of head coaches to be fired before the end of the season in their first season.
Yeah. I think he's like fourth now of like shortest non-interim head coaches to be dismissed.
Yeah. It's very interesting. And you know what? It's the right move. He was not the right move for the Panthers. And, it's just sad because, they draft, they think they're new, their new number one QB, and it's not, the mesh isn't working as they would say. I'm drawing a memory blank at the top of my moment because it's been a while. With their overall number one pick.
With Bryce Young.
And then there was more speculation coming out that, they wanted, I guess they wanted to draft Stroud and they didn't. They wanted to draft something. It was either Stroud or who was the other rookie that was out there this year?
It wasn't Bryce Young, right?
It wasn't Bryce Young. No, it wasn't Bryce Young. I forget who else was out there that they were looking at and they passed on him. Oh, I think it wasn't him. Never mind. I digress, but the Panthers are a dumpster fire right now,
And you know what? To me, I think Frank Reich, as he deserved to get fired, I think he was collateral damage, in all honesty, because I'm just going to say it. Because if I don't say it, someone else won't.
Won't be me.
Since Dan Snyder is now bye-bye, David Tepper is now officially the worst owner in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll go
and
with
I
that
will
for now.
state my case. He's gone through 5 coaches in 6 years since he's bought the franchise. Last year, after you fired Matt Rule, you had a good interim coach in Steve Wilkes. You should have just promoted him to head coach. You almost made the playoffs last year, and I get it, close on accounts and horseshoes and hand grenades. But you but you could have gotten Steve Wilks to build a good system this year. And here's another thing. You basically gave away the farm for draft picks. Because last year, to get Bryce Young, you gave away your number one pick, first round pick in 2024, second round pick in 2025, and on top of that, your top receiver in DJ Moore. So listen, Bryce Young, I'm not going to blame him entirely for his poor season, but you have a team owner who does not know what the hell he's doing.
Well,
let me rephrase that. Something worse. He thinks he knows what the hell he's doing.
Oh, well, if rumor speculations are true and New England lets go of a certain somebody, that certain somebody might be going south.
No, but that brings another thing. I could see anyone who is, once these head coaching interviews start, Patchman, I think Carolina's going to be on the bottom of their list.
I don't think so. The speculations floating around are, if the Patriots are to let go of Mr. Belichick, he's the front runner for Carolina.
I'm also hearing he's the front runner for the Chargers if they let go Brandon Staley.
I don't see that happening. I don't see him going to I don't see him going to LA. I see him going to Carolina. And if that happens, that's a big shakeup in the AFC South. NFC South. NFC South.
Ding.
One of the South conferences.
But here's the thing. I don't see, okay. Because here's the thing. If a lot of these coaches, if they had something to work with, if Carolina still have their number one pick, I guarantee you any coach, if they got offered that job, they wouldn't even have to think twice. But here's the thing, Patch. You gave away your draft picks. If you had the number one pick, you could have gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Arguably one of the best receivers in this upcoming draft class. You could have gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you kept DJ Moore, you would have had great weapons for Bryce Young. But the roster's a mess. What, your top receiver is going to be 33-year-old Adam Thielen?
Hey, don't disrespect Adam Thielen, though.
If any of these coaches were offered that job, I guarantee you they would be skeptical. And not just that. Like I just said, the revolving door. 5 coaches in 6 years. If you moved your life out there, you moved your family out there, and knowing, in Frank Reich's case, you could be there not even a year and get fired. If you're a coach, if you're whoever it's going to be, whether it's going to be Bill Belichick or maybe I'm thinking Kellen Moore, Jim Harbaugh, whoever, if I got offered the Carolina Panthers job, I'd be hesitant. I'd be like, okay, should I buy a house down there? Because, there's a chance I might not be there very long. I'm going to have to move my life down there, move my family down there. And what if I end up like Frank Reich and don't even last a season?
Being the player that he was last season
and you're still out.
I think at this point, I think David Tepper has screwed up the franchise. You're not going to have getting any top weapons in the draft. And that's going to be, again, Carolina is going to be the most unappealing destination for any potential head coaching candidate. Actually, you have anything to say that before we move on to tonight's game?
Oh, I mean, we saw, what happened with Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer. That was a complete debacle and a dumpster fire inside of itself. And Trevor Lawrence,
I was actually thinking about that too.
So Trevor Lawrence is, Trevor Lawrence is not having the greatest of seasons. He's 27-46 and Pat. He has 2,746 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And he's been sacked a remarkable 25 times right now this season. But, that's an off season. But, he's still top 20 in quarterbacks this year, with what's happening with the quarterback carousel and all that hoopla. What we saw Trevor Lawrence, he got through the Urban Meyer debacle. We're going to hopefully, whoever comes to Carolina, we can only hope that Bryce Young gets through his growing pains in his rookie season. It happens in your first season as a rookie. All the shine is on you to perform. And, yes, we've seen it, with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's the front runner to be the offensive rookie of the year. And he's even maybe in an MVP conversation right now. Because, look at him right now. With the Texans, he's just over 3,200 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And okay, his being sacked 26 times is also a growing pain. Okay, that's you trying to understand the NFL system and, the offensive system and the defensive system, where you're going to improve yourself to make sure you're not sacked as many times going forward in the coming years. But with the Panthers, this is just a wait and see game because, like you said, five coaches in 6 years. That's just a carousel for a disaster. And, they have not been the same since Super Bowl 50 when they lost to the Broncos and Peyton Manning and company. And Cam Newton was there.
They made it.
I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl, yes. That was, but then we're expecting them to perform again next year with Cam Newton, and then the Panthers just fall back down into oblivion. And and right now they're just everyone. I know. Well, I don't know that many Panthers fans. One of my bowling friends is a Panthers fan, and he's a diehard Panthers fan, and he's just, I'm just accepting it right now. Hopefully, the Panthers improve, but with Bryce Young, he was excited for Bryce Young, and now he's just like, I don't know right now. It's Panther fans are suffering right now. I'll attest to this right now. Being a Packers fan, was tough right now, but Packer fans expected a growing pain season. I think some Panther fans just expected success right off the bat. Instead of thinking, okay, you know what? It's Bryce Young's first year. It's going to be a struggle year we'll go with. And then we'll reassess next year. But now, they fired their coach. Now they got to get another head coach, Now it's what would it be 6 and 7 years, or are we still going with 5 and 6 years? So
So I'm gonna see we got to see what the Panthers are gonna do in the offseason. Like you said, there's rumors that Belichick may be coming around. I honestly think, and then we'll get into tonight's game. I honestly think Kellen Moore would probably be the best candidate for Carolina.
You never know.
Because young guy works well with young quarterbacks, like he did with Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert. I think he would be a good coach for the Panthers, and I think he would be good for Bryce Young. That is my stance, and I'm standing by it.
Okay.
Okay, now we got a nice, wholesome game of football to talk about tonight, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. Seahawks and Cowboys.
Okay. So, in Seattle's case, the bird is not the word.
The struggle for them right now.
Yeah, that was bad, I know.
Hey, that's a struggle joke, Bill. I will give you a ding now.
Oh, if Mike Rifkin was here, he'd rip me a new one, wouldn't he?
Oh, he would probably say, we're going to throw you in the sea, and hopefully the Hawks get you.
Well, it was nice knowing you. Okay. But anyway, they are coming off a Thanksgiving loss against the red-hot San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, divisional losses, getting into, the back end of the season are tough because now they're 2 games out of the NFC West.
And so Geno Smith threw 18 completions for 27 attempts, 180 yards, no touchdown, 1 interception, and was sacked 6 times. And yeah, so this team is looking okay. So I have to ask you a very simple question. Are you ready?
Sure, ask me anything, Bill.
What is going on with the Seahawks offense? In the beginning of the season, they looked hot, and now they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. In week 6 through 8, they only scored like 19 points a game. What the hell is going on with this team, Patch?
Yeah, well, struggles happen. You look at their recent schedule recently. Okay, you lose to the Ravens are red hot. Ravens have been red hot all season. If Kansas City continues their downward trends of playing 50-50 football, you're looking at the Ravens being the 1 seed. Okay. Let's take that L. Okay, you can move on. All right, yes, scrape out a win against the Commanders. Commanders, are trying to find their footing right now. Not the greatest, not the best. Sam Howell's doing his thing right now. Sam Howell's looking good. Approaching 3,400 passing yards. 18 touchdowns. Okay, 13 interceptions. Blah blah blah. So that's that. So, okay, you scrape out a win. Okay, there was improvement. You put points on the board. Okay, you lose to the Rams 17-16. Yeah, all right. The Rams are another 50-50 team right now where you don't know if they're going to be good or bad. Okay. All right, we get to Thanksgiving. You get blown out on Thanksgiving. That's not, the perfect way to end your Thanksgiving day, It was 31-13. 31-13, and you know what? We saw the resurgence of Geno Smith, and now Geno Smith is, he's playing the struggle bus right now. He's also in, that top 20 quarterback rankings right now for the season. You look at him right now, it's just shy of 2,600 yards passing. He's 12 TDs, 8 interceptions, sacked 27 times. So it really revolves around Pete Carroll and Geno because the right play call is not there. You have an explosive wide receiver in DK Metcalf, who, if he continues to not like this trend, he might say, all right, I'm going to head out. I'm going to go somewhere else. And then, Bill?
No, I was just saying, they're saying, bye, Seattle.
Okay, but I was about to say you wanted to say something. I'm like, all right, he might say, all right.
I was waving for you.
All right, he might, all right, I'm going to head out. And then, he can go somewhere else. And then, could you imagine DK Metcalf in Buffalo, in Kansas City? I'll throw Green Bay out there if Jordan Love continues his trends of climbing back up the mountain and showing that he can ball. It's possible that DK Metcalf cannot be in Seattle next year. Then again, he might stay. It all depends, maybe it's time to switch things up in coaching. Maybe Pete Carroll needs to exit out in Seattle, finds themselves a new head coach. It's a struggle bus right now for Seattle, and especially with their upcoming schedule too. They're playing tonight against Dallas. Then you go back, and then you go to San Francisco. Then you come home against the Eagles. It could be this could be a 5-game skid for them, and they're just done for the season because then you close out against Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Arizona. Ooh. All right, all those 3 teams, minus the Steelers, and I'll even throw the Titans out there. The Cardinals could be maybe their next win. They could end the season on a win. But this next, but this, you're 2 on the road, 1 home, and tonight's the test to show if their season is still alive. If they can beat the Cowboys, I can say, all right, you know what, the season could be salvageable. They're looking at a wild card spot. If they lose to Dallas, ain't no coming back because you're going back to back against the 2 top NFC teams.
Yeah, because I agree with you to the point because this is they are currently holding on to the number 6 seed in the NFL wild card right now. They are holding on to the number 6 seed. And here's my thing with that. They are holding on to the 6 seed. Is their season salvageable? I think tonight is a must-win game. Agree with
It is
me
a
or not?
must win.
Tonight
Yeah, no,
is a
tonight
must-win game.
tonight is a must win. Make a statement, or your season's done, and you're looking at two factors: is Pete Carroll done, and is Geno Smith done?
Yeah, and this was a team that started off very strong.
I mean, okay, you lose to the Rams 30-13, and then you get a good win against Detroit. You beat the Panthers, you beat the New York Giants. Okay, you lose by 5 to the Bengals. All right, no big deal. And then you got 2 nice wins against Arizona and Cleveland. Then you lose to Baltimore. You beat the Commanders, and then you lose back to back against the Rams and the Niners. So they're basically playing 500 football.
And that's being too kind.
They're as to say they're playing the heart monitor game. They're going beep, beep, beep. They're going up and down like a heartbeat.
Hopefully they don't go flatline.
The flat line might come tonight. Depends how they do against the Cowboys.
Yes. So, okay, I was going to ask, can they make the playoffs? And I think we've covered that. If they lose tonight, they're done.
I give them a 25% chance right now. If they win tonight, it's going to go up to maybe 35. Because if you get a win tonight, okay, you're looking good, but then you got the Niners and then the Eagles, and then that's your true test of fortitude.
And that's really going to be an Angry Birds game.
It's going to be a Dirty Bird game.
But I think tonight I think Seahawks, you lose, you're done. Because even if they squeak one out against Dallas tonight, next week you got San Francisco, and the following week you got Philly. So I would say if I'm Pete Carroll tonight, I would treat tonight like it's an elimination playoff game. Agree or disagree?
Throw the dice on the table and go all in.
Okay. What is your X factor for tonight's game?
I mean, without talking about the Cowboys yet. I mean, we're going with an X factor already without talking about the Cowboys.
I go an X factor for each team.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we haven't talked about the Cowboys yet. We might as well do our X factors at the end with that.
Okay, sounds fair. Sounds fair. I will readjust this for you. Okay. Now let's flip to the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think Dak Prescott right now is playing at MVP caliber?
The old ops guy, if he's listening, shout out to the old ops guy. He's going to love me right now. Dak is definitely playing at an MVP level. He's just shy of 3,000 yards passing. He will probably break through that tonight. I think he's at 29-35. So if you look at lovely stats sometimes, they tell you his ranking when it comes to that. And he's, I think, sitting 6th right now, just behind Goff, Tua, Allen, Stroud, and Howell. If you also look at him, his 23 touchdowns to 6 interceptions is pretty good, actually. That's I think the biggest margin between any of them in the league right now. So, and okay, you can throw Dallas's schedule out there. They can only, they're only, beating, subpar teams, and we can go through that list right now. Okay, the back-to-back New York games where they put up 50 points total against 10. All right, it was the first game of the season, New York. the Giants did looked horrendous. Okay, 40-0, justified. They annihilated the Giants. If the Jets are not, starting, they have to go with Zach Wilson. Okay, because of Aaron Rodgers blowing out his Achilles, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. Okay, that's another justifiable win. All right, you lose to Arizona. Arizona's not that good. All right, Dallas is 2-1. Come back, beat New England. New England, we know, is a dumpster fire right now inside of themselves. Okay, you get blown out against San Francisco. Okay, first true test of the season. Okay, so you're 3-2. You beat LA. LA is a decent team. You can fight me on that, people. Back-to-back LA games. Okay, you beat back-to-back LA teams. Okay, you barely lose to Philly the first time. Okay, another true test. Then you come back, beat the Giants, Carolina, Washington. Okay, you can say that their schedule has been easy. But still, they're putting up points. Their lowest, the lowest amount of points they've put up this season was in week 5 against San Francisco, where they only put up 10. Other than that, their next lowest was 16, and before that, 23. No, those are their 3 losses. Other than that, put up 40 against New York, 30 against New York, 38 against New England, 20 against LA Chargers, 43 against the Rams. Then you put up 49 against the Giants, 33 against Carolina, 45 against Washington. And okay, we can look out the rest of their season, playing Seattle tonight. Then they come home against Philly. They're once again, they're after Seattle. Their true test begins against Philly, Buffalo, and Miami, even though we know Buffalo right now is actually a dumpster fire team as well, because they can't seem to put 2 and 2 together and win when it counts. And then Detroit and Washington. But it all relies on Dak and the offense. Dallas defense, phenomenal football right now.
Oh, they're playing very well right now. Dan Quinn is.
They're obvious, Daron Bland, dude's doing phenomenal things right now. Set the new season single season record for most pick six in the season. The 167th overall pick in the 2022 draft is, doing phenomenal things. And that Dallas defense is that's the Dallas D that people remember from the 90s that got them those Super Bowl championships. So, but to get back on Dak and Cowboys as a whole, to me, he's in conversation for MVP. CJ Stroud's in conversation, and Tua's in conversation. Then you can throw Christian McCaffrey in there as well, because, we got to throw the other players that are doing fantastic football out there too. But as we know, the NFL MVP is really a quarterback MVP.
Because we know in the NFL, when it comes to MVPs, there is a huge quarterback bias.
There is a huge
quarterback bias in the NFL when it comes to MVP. No, but I want to say, with Dak, he has now thrown 5 straight games with multiple touchdown passes.
Yep. And the only game he hasn't thrown a touchdown the first week against the Giants, because that was all Dallas D in that game.
With multiple touchdown passes, he is 2 games away from tying the record from Tony Romo.
Hey, Cowboy legend. And, also, if you look at him, his last 4 games, he's only compared, 4, 8, 11. He's thrown 13 touchdowns, 1 interception combined in the last 4 games. So 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he's actually, the last 3 games hasn't been sacked either. So the Dallas O-line, too, is stepping up big time to protect Dak.
Oh, they've been protecting Dak. He's been that. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm a salty, angry, bitter Giants fan right now. Look at my poster. But Dallas is playing good football all around. They're playing good offense. They're playing good defense. They're playing, they're playing good offense. They're playing good defense. Their Dak's looking great. The O-line is phenomenal. But you know what? And I've been saying this. In a way, I think Dallas is kind of overrated. And because you just brought this point up, they're beating subpar teams. Like,
They're
beating subpar teams. Like, have you ever seen that meme where it says, "This is our year," beats up on bad teams? You know what meme I'm talking about. Beats up on bad teams. Goes to the playoffs, wins in the first round, then loses to an actual good team in the divisional round. I think we're on the beat up bad teams part of that cycle right now. What do you think?
Let's, if we, as I wait for the thing I wanted to look at, loads. If it loads, so here it goes. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to look at. All right, if we look at Dallas's loss against the Eagles, where it was 28-23 Philly. Dak Prescott, 29-44, 374, 3 touchdowns. And was sacked 5 times. Okay. Forget the sacks. Dak still threw 3 touchdowns against. Now why is their audio playing? Stephen A. Smith, why are you talking to me right now? Are you gonna stop talking to me?
Me or Stephen A?
No, Stephen A was trying to talk to me in my headphones. So I'm like, I don't want to listen to you, Stephen A, right now. Back to talking about Dak for a minute. Still had 3 touchdowns. And if we go to scoring summary, we're gonna look at the scores right now. Okay. Was 7-7 after the first quarter. Then Dallas took a 17-14 lead at the half. Okay. Dallas gets shut out in the third quarter. Back-to-back, touchdowns from Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Okay. Jason Tolbert, got the only score of the game in the fourth quarter for Dallas, and that was the only score in the fourth quarter. If you look at a 28-23 game, that is a great football game because, you can say there's no defense being played, but I digress from that. And Dallas came up a little bit short against a Philly team that is riding the momentum train right now. They're 8-1 right now, but they gave Philly a run for their money. Can you say, they lost to Philly. They lost to Philly. They're not a real football. They're not a Super Bowl caliber team. Once again, this Dallas team is kicking right now since week 9 when they lost. So, 3 weeks, they only given up 37 points. Okay. And I think they've scored maybe 109 points total in the last 3. Okay. And yes, you can say that's against New York. New York, unfortunately, in week 10, dumpster fire. And since then, but since then, the Giants have won 2 straight. So there's a silver lining for the Giants with Mr. DeVito. Carolina, dumpster fire. Okay. The Commanders, all right, another team that's going to be playing the what if game in the offseason. Dallas is still winning games. Okay, you can say they lost to Arizona week 3. Arizona, week 3. Okay. Other than that, minus the blowout against San Francisco, they're playing great football. They just did not look good in that week 5 matchup against San Francisco. Dallas is still going to be a playoff team. Once again, you can say that, they're being overhyped, but we'll see when it comes to the next 3 games after Seattle. Granted, this could be a test against Seattle too. Because if they lose to Seattle, then questions can come into play. But you can't say Dallas is overrated till I say we get through the Philly game. You got to get through the Philly game, and then we can assess. If they keep it close against Philly, they are still a good football team. If they beat Philly, there's questions that they could maybe be that 1 seed. If they get blown out against Philly, then I can say maybe this team's overhyped.
If they get blown out against Philly, you could think, okay, this team might be overhyped.
I'm not saying I wouldn't say overhyped. It all depends
You just
on
did.
okay, yes, I did, but I'll contract my statement just a little bit. It all depends on how Dak plays at home and how the Dallas defense does. If Dak still plays, if Dak puts up what he did like he did against the first time against Philly, where he put up 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, Dak is still in a conversation for MVP. If Dak plays subpar, his MVP conversation goes down. If Dak plays good and the defense doesn't show up, it's not all on Dak. That's on the defense for blowing the game. People seem to forget that, yes, it relies on your quarterback, but your defense still has to show up to help you, perform still. So, like I say, we got to get I got to get through Philly first before I make my ultimate decision on the Cowboys.
Before you make that final judgment.
Yes.
And you know what? I think that is fair to say because, tonight, okay, yes, the Seahawks have a winning record, but overall, they're a subpar team right now.
Seattle's not playing good football at all.
They are not playing good
I
football.
think Pete Carroll's on his way out. Geno Smith is, lost in the shuffle right now, whether he thinks he can still, I'm not saying he still can't go, but I think, his hype train's finally cooled down. And honestly, if Seattle continues to go in a downward spiral, Pete Carroll might be looking at a new team next year. It's a weird thing to say that because we all thought Mike Tolman would be out of Pittsburgh, and he stuck it through, and Pittsburgh's coming back on a resurgence right now. But
so, yeah, yeah, but it could be, how interesting would that be if both Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick go, bye-bye?
If you see Pete Carroll and Belichick leave their teams, I'm not saying a switcheroo is going to happen, but I could see Pete Carroll going to New England.
Really?
I could say that.
Really? How come?
Fresh start, go on the East Coast, be a part of the NFC East. That division right now, AFC East, bleh, rough night. AFC East, you look at the AFC right now, a little shaken up there. Belichick leaves for another team. You're bringing Pete Carroll. I mean, Pete Carroll can maybe do something with Mac Jones or even Bailey Zappi. It all depends if Belichick leaves. But it would be, I think, good company. Because then that means you would have Sean McDermott. You would have Pete Carroll. I'm drawing Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniel. And that would be great. That would be a good division. Especially if Carroll can bring some resurgence to Mac Jones and try to save his NFL career.
I could see that. But this leads to a more interesting conversation, which we won't fully get into now, but I want to scratch the surface. Do you think maybe there is still room for these old horses like Belichick and Pete Carroll, or do you think maybe it's time, in the words of President Kennedy, to pass the torch to the newer, younger coaches?
It all depends, I think
that sounded like a dumb question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not a dumb question. I might give a stupid answer. Who knows? Pete Carroll, I think, still has some time left in the league. I think for looking at Belichick wants to ride off into the sunset the right way, because right now, the man's a Hall of Fame first ballot Hall of Famer guarantee when he retires. You know what he did, him and Tom Brady, what they did, fantastic. Okay, the last few years have been subpar for Bill Belichick, but Bill Belichick wants to go off in the sunset the right way, and I bet you be a Super Bowl champion. Does that mean he's going to do in New England? Probably not. That's why maybe he might go off for 1 or 2 seasons somewhere else and tread the water and maybe bring one of these other young rookies, young quarterbacks, not rookies, young QBs, and maybe take them to the promised land one time and go off the right way.
Because like what we've been talking about, that maybe possibility Belichick will be going maybe to Los Angeles to maybe mold Justin Herbert.
I think LA's not the right fit. I think LA's not the right fit for him. I don't see him in that system.
And what you said earlier, maybe Carolina, so maybe he could mold Bryce Young, but I really don't see that happening.
To me, he could mold Bryce Young better.
But that's just, we're gonna have to see. It's like, with Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick, is there, and this is a bigger conversation for another day, is there still room in this league for the old horses like them? Or is it time to pass the torch to a new generation of coaches?
Wait and see, game as they wait and see.
Yep, we're going to have to wait and see. Okay. Patchman, my good friend.
Yes, sir.
What are the X factors for these teams tonight?
I mean, for one, it's Dallas defense. Dallas defense has been red hot recently. Once again, only giving up, I think, 33 points in the last 3 games. So, also you got to look out for that X factor on that defense going for probably pick 6, number 6. So you got to look out for him.
Land.
Yeah, you got to watch out for him because if he reads the read right and gets that ball, watch out, he might be off to the races. Also, Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott can continue playing what he's been playing, Dak Prescott is going to keep his name in that hat for MVP conversation. If you flip it to the other side to Seattle, Geno Smith. It's all on Geno Smith right now. Geno Smith needs to, as I like to say sometimes on this podcast, wake up and smell the roses. Wake up, smell the roses. Get yourself back to what we saw last year from you, going from a resurgence of a career, bringing life back to your name, and showing that you can still be a quarterback in the league. Because right now you're playing 50-50 football. Time for Geno Smith to, as the old saying goes, put the big boy pants on and swing for the fences, or throw for the end zone if you want to use football terms.
Okay. My X factors, I'm going to agree with you on. I think it's going to be Gridiron Bland. He's been, for Dallas, he has been just a beast catching those interceptions. So I think Geno Smith's got to be careful. And my X factor for Seattle is, I know this has been a weak factor because Geno Smith got sacked 6 times last week. I think it's going to be the O-line to protect Geno Smith from especially Micah Parsons.
I got to watch out for him.
Yeah, so I think the O-line's got to protect Geno Smith from Micah Parsons. I think that's going to be a big X factor. Okay, Patchman, you know what time it is?
Sure.
It is time for Rapid Fire.
Oh, boy. Love me some good
old we have a theme.
Fire.
We'd have a theme, but we'd have to hire a composer, and composers cost money, so we can't do that.
Rapid Fire.
That'd be cool. Okay, so 2 minutes on the clock, couple questions. Are you ready to go?
Sure.
And here we go. Which one of these 3 AFC teams will get the final playoff spot? The Colts, the Texans, or the Broncos?
If it wasn't for Anthony Richardson going down, I would say the Colts. But you have to go with Denver. Denver, you know what? they're trying to find themselves. Russell Wilson is starting to get back to Russell Wilson that we known him when he was in his time in Seattle. Granted, I want old Russell Wilson in Seattle, like when he went to back-to-back Super Bowls. But I think we're going to get that soon. So give me Denver. Denver's going to get that last spot.
To me, I'm going to say either Denver, maybe Houston. CJ Stroud has been an absolute beast this season.
I mean, first year in the league. First year in the league, man. Has this conversation the name for Rookie of the Year or the Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, however you want to classify that award.
I'm going to say Houston. I've been saying since day one, do not scoff at Houston. They got a good team going. I'm going with Houston. Okay. Recently, just today, Aaron Rodgers has been cleared for practice. Should the Jets play him near the end of the season or just save him for next year?
Honestly, if you not to say put butts in seats, but if the Jets can find a way to get themselves back to 500 and maybe in a last conversation spot for a wild card team, I wouldn't rule out Aaron Rodgers playing at least maybe the last game of the season if the Jets are in conversation for a playoff spot. Other than that, if the Jets lose, the next one or two, save it for next season, man. I'm going
to agree with you.
I want a healthy Aaron Rodgers, man. I love Aaron Rodgers still.
I'm going to agree with you on that one, Patch. I just don't think I think right now, don't risk him getting hurt again. Just rest until next year. If the Jets are like totally done, don't put Aaron Rodgers at risk. Okay, going to the other New York football team or New Jersey football team. If Tyrod Taylor comes off the IR, should the Giants keep him in or should they just finish the season with Tommy DeVito and his chicken?
Give me DeVito. Give me DeVito.
Give you DeVito.
Give me DeVito, and you know what? I will go out on a limb. If DeVito keeps doing what he's doing, give that man the starting position next year, and Daniel Jones is a backup.
I don't know if I would go that far, but
hey, we'll see this Sunday, my friend.
Giants have a bye this Sunday, so
next Sunday against the Packers.
Would we possibly do a Giants-Packers live stream next week?
I think it's the Monday Night Football game next week, if I'm not mistaken. It is. I am unavailable due to bowling obligations, so.
Okay. Have it that way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding. Yeah, but no, I would say just let DeVito finish out the season. He's had a good past couple games.
I mean, if you look at the rest of the season, you got Green Bay, New Orleans, Philly, Rams, and Philly again. So.
Yeah. You know what? Funny story about Philly. Giants are playing the Eagles on Christmas Day this year. And
could be a Christmas miracle, Billy.
And we were like today, me and my folks, we were discussing what we were going to be doing for Christmas. We might be going to my aunt's, but my mom said, "Oh, but the Giants are playing. Should we just maybe have it home?" And my dad goes, "Listen, don't schedule Christmas around the Giants. If they were 10-2 and had a shot at winning the division, then we'd be having a totally different conversation." But
I cannot wait for that Giants reflection with you, Allie, and Jeff, because I might just make a special appearance for that.
Love you too. And anyway,
saying you guys were wrong thinking the Giants were.
Yes, we were wrong, and we'll admit it. Okay, we will admit that we were wrong. Hey, we admit it when we're wrong. We're not some people who pretend we were always right.
So Yankee fans. Okay, I got it.
Okay, moving on. Final prediction. What do you got tonight, my friend?
I'll give me Dallas. I think Dallas is gonna be a good game, but Dallas is just gonna probably pull away like at the end of the second quarter, or when the third quarter begins. We'll go. I'll say 28-17.
28-17.
28-17 Dallas.
Okay, I'm gonna say Dallas is gonna win this game 31-20. I think Dallas is gonna win 31-20.
All
So,
right.
Patchman, if the lovely people want to see more of this, where do they go?
All right. Well, we're on YouTube right now, so just make sure you're following, you're like, comment, and subscribing on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. Go to X and follow us there on SIN Real and SIN Real Insanity for the network podcast and the network Twitter or X, whatever you want to classify X these days, Twitter, X, whatever. Once again, SIN Real Insanity. And go to the website, www.thesportsanitynetwork.com to keep up with all the blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, automobiles, nonsense, hooligans, and propaganda in our blogs.
Okay, so we hope you enjoyed this we hope you enjoyed tonight. Patchman, thank you for coming.
Pleasure, my friend. I'm ready to eat my dinner now. I'm hungry.
Okay, so we will see you next week. Stay safe, take care, and Patchman.
Oh, say goodnight to your mama. Mama loves you. Say goodnight to Papa. Papa loves you too. In the words of Rifkin, namaste.
Namaste. Take care, guys. We'll see you.